Hey, good morning, everybody. As promised, I have Mona Campos here, who is the mortgage lender for Keystone Financial, and we're going to be talking with her about the common mistakes that first-time homebuyers make, or that homebuyers make when they're looking to purchase their home. We're going to deal with them mistake 1, then mistake 2, mistake 3 in different videos. So here's mistake 1. Hey Mona, how are you this morning?
I'm good, Reggie. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Glad to have you here. What's the first mistake that you find that buyers make when they're looking to purchase a home and when they're going for their mortgage?
The first mistake is not getting pre-qualified as soon as possible. That should be the first step. A lot of times buyers will do a home search online first, and then they'll call a realtor, and then maybe they'll want to see a home, and they haven't been pre-qualified yet. It's so important to be pre-qualified. You need to know where you stand.
Right.
There are strict guidelines with the investors and the lenders and Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA that we have to adhere to. So if I take your profile and I match it up to what those guidelines are, I can tell you if you qualify or not, and if you don't, what you need to do to get there.
All right. Okay. And so why is this important from the buyer's point of view to get pre-qualified first, to see you first?
They really need to know where they stand. It's going to save them time. It's going to be doing things in a logical order.
Okay. Is it true that sometimes when they don't do that, they may find a home and think they can pre-qualify for it and then
Absolutely.
not?
All the
Okay.
time.
So you've seen that a lot.
Right.
Okay. So you would recommend, just give us a summary, what would you recommend someone to do if they're going to look for a home?
They should ask someone around for a good loan officer. You know, they shouldn't be doing so much online search. They should go by referral for that, because you do want to have a good loan officer with a good reputation, with a good lender. And they need to call them, and it really doesn't take long to be pre-qualified. Just call them verbally. They can go over the phone the information, and then they can have, usually in their email within a half hour, an estimate and a pre-qualification letter.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Mona. Guys, we're going to have some more mistakes for you, but this is the first one. So we're back again. You talked already about mistake number 1 that buyers make when they're looking to go for a home. Let's talk about the second biggest mistake that you think buyers make as they're looking for a home and going for a mortgage.
Well, the second mistake, and just as important as the first one, is lying or misleading or leaving out information when you're doing the pre-qualification or the loan application.
Okay.
It's so important to be as accurate as possible when you're giving the information, because your loan officer is experienced in knowing how to put that information into the application so that it will be understood through processing and underwriting.
Okay.
The information that you provide will match what documentation you're required to show.
Okay.
So if you're misinforming somebody, it will show up in the credit report, in the verifications, on your tax returns. Something won't match, and at that time, then you would have wasted that time. And again, it goes back to wasting the time of your time, the loan officers, the real estate agents, the lender, and it's just going to help you a lot in the long run to be as upfront as possible.
Have you seen this a lot where people?
Yes, and a lot of times it's not the people's fault. It's just they think, oh well, I only lived here for a little bit, so I don't really have to tell them. You really do have to tell every detail, and we only ask for the past 2 years history on a lot of it, so it's not that hard to actually record everything and make sure you're doing it as accurately as possible.
Okay, all right, that makes a lot of sense. So the bottom line is you have to be honest and straightforward and give all the information to the loan officer up front, because it's going to save you time and save you money in the long run. Okay, that's mistake number 2. Look forward to seeing you in our next video. Mistake number 3 that first time home buyers make. Okay, we're back. We're talking to Mona Campos, the loan officer for Keystone Financial, and we already talked about mistake number 1 that buyers make when they're going for the mortgage, when they're looking for a home. Mistake number 2. Now we're going to talk about mistake number 3. So welcome back, Mona.
Thanks, Reggie.
All right. So what's the third mistake that you see first-time home buyers make as they're going for a home?
The third mistake, and just as important as the second and the first, is not providing the correct documentation that is requested of them in a timely manner.
Okay.
What happens a lot of times is once we get that documentation, I would say most of the time, it brings new questions to the table, and we might require additional documentation from that.
Okay.
So again, that's another delay. So if you're clear about it and you do it right away, that is the best practice.
Okay.
Once it gets, once the information is submitted to me, the loan officer, I do have to present it to the processor, who then presents it to the underwriter.
Okay.
And that's a process that, if everything is perfect, it'll go from processing to underwriting to closing. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way most of the time. There's additional documentation required, and it comes in staggered.
Okay.
And, they don't want to open up the file multiple times.
That makes sense.
And if you give me something 3 weeks into the transaction that is going to require more documentation, that's a delay.
Okay. So a lot of times when people are going for a loan and there is a delay, it is because they've handed in the documents in that type of way, not timely.
A lot of the time, yes.
Okay. So by handing them in a timely manner, they can actually shorten the time, or at least make it happen.
Right. We can address
time.
any issues that may come up or any questions that need to be explained at the time of providing them. And the earlier you do that, the better off you'll be to getting into closing in a timely manner.
Okay, well, fantastic. Thank you, Mona. So we've covered 3 mistakes that buyers make when they're going for a home as they're applying for the mortgage. Look forward to talking to you in the future. We're going to have other videos with Mona. Mondays with Mona is what it's called, and look forward to seeing you. We're going to go over not just mistakes, but tips that Mona will give to you to make sure that your home buying experience, especially the mortgage part, goes really well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.